You're welcome to DBA TV, where we discuss everything international trade. In this series, you are going to be learning about what each of the Nigerian states have to offer as far as export is concerned. I have maintained that Nigerian states are billionaires in dollars and that they can be self-sufficient, but because the number of governors comes in with not the intention of generating income, but with the intention of sharing the money. But in this particular episode, we have put together a series of videos for all the Nigerian states from Abia to Zamfara. And this will enable the new governors that are coming in, or the new administration in different states of the country, to be able to take a cue from what we've shared in this video, which, by the way, covers the peculiarity of each state apart from the preamble. It talks about the profile of the profit, of the debt and income of the state. It talks about the potential of the state. It talks about the purchaser of the product the state have to offer, and of course, the exportable product, and also the proposal we have for the state, and how the state can directly profit from exporting raw materials, manufactured goods, solid minerals, and agri-commodity. I believe this will be of interest to you and maybe to your governor or to commissioner, whoever it is in your state. Thank you very much for joining. Enjoy yourself as you learn through what maybe your state is what we are looking at today, what Nigerian state have to offer. Happy listening. Thank you very much. The preamble, basically talking about why I think Delta states need to consider export generating more revenue. The peculiarity of the state in terms of resources, in terms of the people, the local government, population and the like, and the location, of course. Then the profile, basically looking at the debt, unemployment rate, IGR, and the like. Then the potential, looking at what the state is capable of exporting beside oil and gas, Then the purchasers, who are those that buy? And what's the volume they buy? The purchasers, then the proposer. My proposal to the state government on how to engage SME to be able to create more jobs in the state, and the profit, how the state can actually make money from exporting itself, how the state can actually make money by exporting itself. Delta State, the big heart. The big heart. Delta State, the big heart. And of course, the capital of Delta is Asaba. Now, why should Delta State export? To avoid over-dependence on federal allocation, to boost the foreign reserve, to boost the GDP of the state, to create opportunity for SME in the state to grow, to decrease dependence on domestic market, to earn export proceeds and grow revenue for the state, to make farming and rural life become more lucrative. It helps the state to gain global market share and recognition. The state becomes home of creativity and innovation. It also helps the state to industrialize and industrialization catalyst. It helps the state in job creation for youth. It helps the state to know the value of the state competitive advantage. It helps the state to lead for other states to follow. Export is capable of making the state to be independent of federal government, and there are numerous incentives for exporters in the state to enjoy. As a matter of fact, it helps the state to maximize the indigene opportunity created by the engineering of the state abroad. It also helps the state in poverty eradication through job creation. It helps the state to quit the league of states depending rather on wasting assets like oil. Is capable of helping to revive the economy of the state because of the enormous income that can be generated. It can help to slow down rural and urban migration. There are huge tax-free opportunity for exporters in the state. The state businesses can also utilize their idle or excess capacity. It makes the state become viable. Some states in Nigeria are said to be non-viable. How can a state that have land, farmland, be said to be non-viable? Of course, the state is non-viable because the handler of the state or the governor did not come in to generate income, but to depend solely on further allocation. With Nigeria spending 90% of its income to service debt, someone said we should have declared bankruptcy already. We're actually at the verge of that, and it's so sad for our nation at this time. But it's so amazing that despite huge resources, this is so important issue of leadership in Nigeria. Despite huge resources the country have, the country is at the verge of being declared bankrupt, unable to service its debt. This is a state with not just oil and gas that we focus on, huge mineral resources. Gold is a big deal, and Nigeria produce that. Over $600–700 billion in demand every year for gold alone. And we're not doing a lot of that at all. Among other agricultural minerals and the like that the country is capable of exporting and generating income. But somehow, some people feel we should just focus on oil. Of course, the state government, I say this every week. If a state governor can sleep for 30 days, from August 1 to August 30, and still be able to pay salary at the end of the month, there's no incentive to do any work, actually. Because either it works or not, money will going to come. How do you run a country like that? Wealth creation for a citizen of the state. It also helps the state to extract its potential in order to discover products in which it has an advantage. You have the state to yearn for more improvement because of competition, and the state can zero in on their area of strength in order to grow the GDP of the state. So what do you see in Delta? I don't know if anybody here is from Delta. I have a colleague that's from Delta, and is always very angry with the governor because he believes the state is getting so much allocation, but so much allocation, but being shared. So what do you see in Delta State? You see unemployment, and I will show you the data on unemployment. Of course, there are unemployment. You see poverty, and I will show you also to see the level of deprivation. Is it frustration? And these are real issues in all the states in Nigeria. But the objective of today's session is to show you opportunities that is available in farming, is to see how we can show ourselves opportunity available in mining, and of course, opportunity available in population of Delta State. Opportunity available in population of Delta State. All right, what are the peculiarity of Delta State? Delta State was created from the Bender State in 27th of August 1991 by the regime of IBB. Delta State is named after the Delta region of the River Niger. Is the capital of Asaba, and its capital is Asaba. What is the biggest commercial city in the state? People were starting worried to get this, but somehow, with politics in Nigeria, it went to Asaba. Other major towns are Agbo, Ueli, Ogara, Sapele, and the like. Delta can be considered a miniature version of Nigeria with various ethnic groups. Delta share common boundary with Edo State, with Ondo State to the north, with Imo and Anambra to the northeast, with River and Bayelsa to the southeast. In the southwest and south, it has approximately 122 kilometers of coastline bounded by Bight of Benin on the Atlantic Ocean. The major ethnic group are Urobo, Igbo, Ezon, Isoko, Echekiri. All the ethnic groups claim a common ancestry. Consequently, their cultures are similar. Delta State is in South region of Nigeria, home to Warri, which is the most populous of its cities and its economic nerve center. Delta is an oil-producing state and one of the nine Niger Delta states in Nigeria. River Ethiopia, which is reputed to be the deepest inland waterway, is in Africa, is sourced in and flowed through Delta State. Delta State also has a thriving fishing industry. Nicknamed Big Heart, largest producer of petroleum products in the country. I remember the governor of Anambra calling him my rich neighbor. That's the governor of Delta there with Peter Obi and Nduanga, my rich neighbor. Opportunity for investment exists in agri, light manufacturing, healthcare, tourism, energy, and mining. Square kilometer land, 17,108. 25 local government areas. Population is about 6 million. About 3 million male and 2.9 female. Vegetation, tropical and monsoon. Main agricultural products, cassava, rubber, oil palm, cashew, cocoa. Minerals is crude oil, silica, tar sand, clay, and limestone. Let's examine this state a little bit deeper. The IGR of the state as of 2019 is 64.7, one of the highest in Nigeria, compared to many other states, Lagos being the highest. Budget 395 billion naira. 395 billion naira. Having a lot of young population, 14 years and old and below is over 2 million people. Labor force is about 3.1 million people. This state is said to have cassava, oil palm, clay, limestone, plywood, rubber, railway. 40% of Nigerian gas reserves are present in this state. 163-kilometer coastline with numerous ports, jetties, and maritime industry. Suitable geographical condition for farming, tourism, with deposit of lignite. This state have total unemployed 831,000. 831,000. Unemployment rate is 31%. Underemployment is 24%. Please note, when MBS say underemployment, what it means is that the person is working less than 8 hours a day, less than 40 hours a week. Does not necessarily mean that he's gainfully employed. Even if he's not paid a living wage, the fact is that if work up to 8 hours a day is actually employed. So that's why people add underemployment with unemployment, and in this state it will be about 55%. IGR as of 2020 was 59.7. Federal allocation 200 billion. Federal allocation 200 billion plus IGR of 59, almost 60, 260 billion. But let's go to the debt. See the debt profile of this state. This state is owing 248 billion. If you add the $62 million to it, you are now having almost 300 billion naira. State is in huge debt. The state is number 4 in terms of debt profile in Nigeria, number 4 out of 36 states in terms of debt profile in Nigeria. Now, I want us to check this state. If this state has this budget, the budget of that we saw before of about 395 billion, that's the budget, 395 billion. Now, with 395 billion budget, look at this state. 22% is IGR. Delta State cannot survive without Abuja. Delta State, 77% of its revenue is actually from federal allocation. 77%. And this is a recurrent decimal sincerely for many states. If you have been following this series, you will notice a number of states, most of the time, is between 70, 30, 75, 25, 78, 22. I mean, something like this. Which is why some people say some states in Nigeria are not viable. But these are states that really can be independent. But of course, when there is free money or cheap money, you don't expect people to think. Look at the state again. Operating expense is so huge compared to capital expenditure of 24. Operating expense is very, very huge compared to capital expenditure. Let's see what budget have to say about this state. According to budget reports of Nigerian state, the Big Heart, Delta State took a hit from the infamous recession assassin COVID-19 in 2020, which saw IGR tumble by 7.5%. The state historically have high dependence on federally distributed revenue, and this has left it vulnerable to shocks from crude oil volatility. Situation will crystallize in 2020 as crude oil price plummeted to 9.12. Now it's over $100 per barrel. With a 2020 spending on operating activity reaching 192 billion. Can you imagine? The state had the second highest annual operating expenses after Lagos. And you can understand Lagos because, I mean, Lagos probably have a lot of population, probably a lot of workers than this state. Without having an industrial cloud, can you imagine? To depend on for revenue generation, for sustainability. It also does not have IGR generating capacity of its foreign oil-producing neighbor, River State, to depend on to satisfy its recurrent expenditure appetite. River State raised 117 billion IGR in 2020, despite COVID, nearly twice of Delta State. Nearly twice of Delta State. To sustainably finance its operating expenses, the state needs to urgently identify new ways of sabotaging its IGR. Otherwise, citizens may find the state increasingly resorting to more debt to survive, further crowding out other entrepreneurs from accessing loans to grow their businesses. Critical expenditure will also suffer. For example, the state reduced pension payments to retirees in the state by 23%. Can you imagine? With all that money, you now begin to wonder, so where is the money of Delta State going? Revenue. Sorry, recurrent expenditure rather, payment of salaries, and a lot of other recurrent expenditure. A small state like that, we really need to do something about this. No wonder a number of people in the state are disgruntled because the state is earning so much, but it's like the money is being shared. Delta State is now the fourth most indebted state in Nigeria with a total debt burden of 272 billion at December 2020, and they've added to it now. This leaves their citizens to be, each citizen is owing 42. The average debt of each citizen in Nigeria is 27,000 naira, but in Delta is 42,000 naira. Delta domestic debt surged by 6.22% from 233 in 2009 to 248 in 2020. However, we noted a decline in state foreign debt portfolio of 0.76. In 2020, investment in capital infrastructure suffered. The implication of this would be stalled delivery of capital projects in the state with all that money and reduce payment to contractor for ongoing projects with a negative ripple effect on balance sheet of affected contractor. Due to the weak performance of its physical fundamentals, low prioritization of capital expenditure, decline in IGR, growing debt portfolio, the state declined from 23rd position rather, in annual ranking to 31st position in terms of fiscal performance. This state need help, not in terms of revenue, but not in terms of income. No, not in terms of the help is in terms of generating IGR. With the way oil is going, it's still like Delta. They're supposed to have so much savings. It's having so much debt. Potential. Let's look at the potential of Delta State. Agriculture is the mainstay of the state economy. Yam, cassava, oil palm, rice, corn are grown for local consumption. Delta is a major exporter of petrol, rubber, timber, palm oil, palm kernel through the Niger Delta port of Burutu, Focados, Cocoa, Sapele, and Warri. The state industry includes glass and bottle manufacturing, textile mill and plastic, rubber, plywood, natural gas, boat building, saw milling, and furniture. A major steel producing complex is at Alaja. Alaja, I hope I'm pronouncing very well, adjacent to Warri. Petroleum is exported by pipeline from Ugeli field, and other major field exists near Warri, which possesses an oil refinery, cocoa and escabos, as well as offshore. Delta state government is, however, making effort to diversify state revenue. Every state is making effort. The effort has been making, was on a program, was it 3 years ago? I think it was a network of private non-exporter program that the ED of NEPC then, Mr. Segun Awolowo, was saying, Nigeria have been diversified through the window. Nigeria have been diversified through the window. That is through the window we have been diversifying. As we will look at it through the window that I want to diversify. Because the diversification, in as much as is necessary, we are not doing it in deed and in truth. I mean, since inception of NEPC, the kind of money they got to support exports was only happened 2 years ago. See 2020 or 2021. Imagine having that kind of fund every year and what we actually can do in terms of export support in Nigeria. Just having that kind of budget, that's for a country that is very serious as far as export is concerned. I mean, and now it's extremely important that we really do export right now. With AFCFTA almost done, payment issue have been sorted out. The tariff schedule is 88% done. A lot of people are already indicating interest in the logistics, both for road construction, rail, and movement. I mean, the opportunity is there in Africa. Over 1.3 billion people. And Africa, Nigerian state can take advantage of that. The state government has called various forms of assistance to farmers in the area of fishery, agri, forestry, veterinary services, produce planning, and research. Most local government in the state boast of fishery extension unit, which cater for advisory input, net, engine rope, leaf floater, and others. The state government has invested adequately in fishery due to national resources, which Delta State is blessed with. Fresh fish, crabs, shrimps, dry fish abound in almost all the local governments. Delta State is also rich in major tuber roots, such as cassava, yam, and tomato and potato. Let's go into the detail of what this state is capable of doing. Now, the state can produce palm oil. What is the market size of palm oil? $29.3 billion. And who are the major buyers? India, Pakistan, China, Netherlands, Spain, Turkey, Japan, Egypt, Kenya, Tanzania, South Africa, Benin Republic. Even in Africa, look at the demand in Africa, 4.28 billion. So Africa is a major importer of palm oil. Africa is a major importer of palm oil. Someone is saying, I was shocked about the capital expenditure to the budget projected revenue statistics you read out. 64 billion naira capital expenditure out of 250 billion budget. Some states are worse than that, Solomon. You'll be shocked. Some states, there's something I don't understand about Nigeria. It's like the people running the government. It's like, I'm sure they have chartered accountants, economists around them. Maybe they don't listen to their advice or they don't advise them. When you look at the way they spend money, you'll be wondering, it's like, let me spend all I can because I have just 4 years. People are not looking into the future. How do we ensure this state survive? This money will not always be flowing like this. How do we save? How do we invest in infrastructure to generate revenue for government? How do you build a system and structure to be able to export Nobody's thinking of it. Nobody's thinking of that. It's amazing. Rubber. You know, sometimes I feel like asking some of our governor, if you own a business and someone is running it the way you are running this state, will you be happy? As in asking the governor, Mr. Governor, if this state were to be your private business, that your money was what you used to start it, and you have someone making the state to be indebted to this level, because having those level of debt is a sign that you are biting more than you can chew. If you have over 200 billion plus 56 billion, why are you budgeting for 365 billion? Why are you budgeting? Why do you budget for that? And you have a recurrent level that is so high. What? Rubber is another very interesting product of this state. The market for rubber is $13.6 billion. In Africa, the market is 162 million. From China to India to Malaysia to South Korea to Vietnam to United States to Canada to Mexico to Germany to Spain to Italy. These are the major buyers of this product around the world. Who are those buying in Africa? South Africa, Egypt, Algeria, Kenya, Ethiopia, Tunisia, and the like. The next one is sunwood. This state have a lot of wood. Look at wood, $36.7 billion. $36.7 billion. $36.7 billion. Amazing. Can you imagine? Just imagine that. This state is a major producer of rubber. The question we should be asking ourselves is, how much of this rubber is the state exporting itself? I think these politicians that take our money abroad don't know these statistics. Oguleye, are they not the one that gave the data to MBS? MBS got the data from them now. MBS published the data, but MBS got it from the state. MBS is not the one that owns the data. Every state have this data, and MBS got it from them. So I'm sure they are aware. That's why I asked that question. If this state were to be your own business, are you going to be borrowing this much and leave the state in the business in so much debt? Are you going to have this level of requirement? If it's your own business, of course, because it's not their business now. They can't run their business the way they are running Nigeria. They can't. Because the business is going to go bankrupt. And they won't want their patrimony to go bankrupt. Look at sunwood, $36.7 billion. And the African market size, 1.78. From China to Japan to Vietnam to United Kingdom to Germany to Italy to United States to Netherlands to Australia to France to Germany and Belgium. In Africa, Egypt, Algeria, South Africa, Morocco, Tunisia, Libya, Botswana are major importers of sunwood. What else can this state export? Newsprint. Newsprint, because of the kind of wood produced in this state. Newsprint, 8.48 billion. The cyber marketing said, the politicians know they are just being wicked. I agree with you 110%. I agree with you 110%. They know they are just being wicked. They want to take, because they know they are there for 4 years. Do you know the interesting thing? When they are leaving, they will still make law that ensure they are paid. How can someone serve for 8 years and is looking for, they call it pension for 8 years service? Just 8 years of service, so you're asking for pension. And the pension, you need to know what the pension entails: houses, cars, money paid every month, domestic staff, security. Just for serving the state for 8 years? Just milking the state. Who are the major importers of this? Italy, France, United States, United Kingdom, Belgium, India, China. And in Africa, we have $1312 million. Egypt, Algeria, South Africa, Kenya, Morocco, and the like. Shrimps and prawns. Shrimps and prawns, or crustacean in general. crustacean in general. Crustacean, which involves shrimps and prawns, crustacean market in the world actually is about $24 billion. So look at shrimp and prawns. Isabasadi is my state, my home. Thanks for the good one. All right. And your governor wants to become vice president, though. Shrimps, prawns, frozen. Look at it, $19.5 billion. This state has over 100 kilometers of waterways. Over 100 kilometers of waterways. Over 100 kilometers of waterway. And it can have access to shrimps, prawns, crustaceans in the ocean. Look at the market for a day. Shrimps. China, major market. Japan, Spain. United States is importing a quarter of shrimps and prawns in the world. United States alone. Spain, France, Italy, United Kingdom, Germany, Belgium, Russia, Vietnam, South Korea, 19.5 billion. Africa is importing 238 million. Morocco, Egypt, South Africa, Mauritius, Algeria, Namibia. Then, processed shrimps and prawns, $6.22 billion. And in Africa, $156 million. I want you to look at this, this chain. If you look at the value chain of agri, you have production and harvesting, primary processing, secondary processing and packaging, marketing and sales, logistics and export. In Nigeria today, and in most states, SMEs are the one. In fact, sometimes the same SME do everything. Sometimes you have different SME doing everything. But when SME is involved in the entire value chain of an agro product, you have an inefficient value chain operator. You have low processing capacity, low output. So they can enjoy economy of scale. You have few job creation. You have low quality and packaging. You have high cost of production. And you have non-competitive products in the export market. My recommendation and proposal to Delta State government is look for one or two products the state is producing very well and create a system whereby you have a shared facility for processing center that is owned by a large corporate, a PPP arrangement that is basically not built for profit, but it's not running at a loss. Government have a large stake in it, run by a private organization, but they are making enough money to keep the factory going. Now, there is an SME1 who is the farmer, and SME2 who is the exporter, who will buy from SME1 and give it to this large corporate organization to process. This SME2 does not need to worry about processing and packaging. The processing and packaging will be done by this large organization. So when it comes back in 2 weeks after giving them its raw material, it's picking up finished goods. This creates efficient value chain operator, high processing capacity and high output, good quality and packaging, low cost of production, and competitive products in the export market because of the economy of scale, increased job creation, decreased inequality, and of course, if job creation happens in Nigeria, if you have more jobs, you are definitely going to have less people kidnapping, less insecurity, less skilling, and of course, reduce inequality. In order to support exporter in your state, Delta State, to be able to enter export market in Africa, Europe, and Asia in a secure and sustainable way, the state government needs to do the following: partner with representative at destination to be able to market and secure contract for your citizen, set up warehouses for pickup by wholesaler and retailer at destination market, set up an entity, agent or distributor at destination market, partner with an independent agent and distributor at the destination market, organize and sponsor manufacturers for exhibition in the export market. Someone said I started buying rubber when I was 14 years old, and now I am going to 44, and all the factories are almost gone. Wow. What about the rubber trees? 75% is gone. But the crazy part is that each state governor is concerned about crude oil theft.
and Warri Port has been relegated to crude oil port. Please apply. How do you apply? Okay, profit. Now, look at my recommendation. Look at my recommendation of how Delta State can generate money from palm oil. Look at how Delta State can generate money from palm oil. The state has about 339,000 hectares of land. Sorry, about 679,000 arable land. 50% of that, if used to cultivate palm oil alone, which at agronomists told us it can yield 18 metric tons per hectare, that will come to 6 million tons of palm fruit. At a yield of 19%, if you process palm oil from it, you will get about 1.16 million tons of palm oil. If you add the cost of farming, cost of processing, cost of export, and you deduct it from the current market price of the palm oil, this state is capable of generating over 730 billion naira just from palm oil. Just from palm oil. Just from palm oil. And these are very conservative figures. Even if you slash this by half, the state has more than enough every year to be able to make money exporting itself. Exporting palm oil itself, not giving someone to do, exporting it by itself. I've advocated that. Do you know that currently we make money from export as a country? We make money from export as a country. How? We make money from export as a country by exporting crude oil. So we can do exactly the same thing and export. And CBN will gladly give the state government a rebate of 65 naira per dollar. Of 65 naira per dollar. CBN will gladly give that. That will be an extra for the state government. Why are state government not setting up a special purpose vehicle to export? Look at the way I think they can do it. The state can partner with Okomu Oil, for example, or any other oil producing firm that have the expertise. Work with the citizens of the state to cultivate palm kernel and support them. Form them into cooperatives, support them with improved variety of palm fruit, and of course, train them, give them a purchase order backed by a guarantee, support them with input, get them to farm across the state, buy off them, process it, source for buyers. Because now they have an expert doing it. In the business they set up, the state government probably own 80% and the other party own 20%. Because the state government is bringing everything required. The other party is bringing its expertise. To be able to get this done. At the end of the day, you can source for buyer, do the shipment, do the documentation, present for payment, get paid, pay off the farmers. He has given the farmer guarantee, pay off the farmers profitably. Remove the cost of production and the like, and then cost of export and the like, and then give your partner some money to run the business and their own profit, and the state can have more than enough. This is exactly what we are doing with Shell, with Chevron, and a lot of other oil majors in Nigeria. Why can't we do this for non-oil export? The impact of the suggested model for state government goes beyond generation of revenue via export. That's a humongous impact on employment generation and increased economic activity in the state. This, in my opinion, is a more effective, efficient, and enduring model for diversifying the economy of any state in Nigeria. This model can also be replicated by federal government at the federal level, especially for the exportation of solid minerals. especially for the exportation of solid minerals. Thank you very much, everyone. See you next week and have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.